Reddit is now one of the most influential sources in generative search. And if you're not using it in your content strategy, you are invisible to ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can find the most relevant and important Reddit threads, extract insights from them, and then create content outlines, and then the type of content that these LLMs want to surface. So first, let's just go over some context and the data. So SEMrush had an interesting study here on the impact of AI search on SEO traffic. And if we go here, one of the interesting takeaways is the sites that are sourced, the websites that are sourced most frequently in these AI overviews. So actually, if we look at the graph here, the most cited source is Quora, but a close second is Reddit. And the way that you'll actually see Reddit appear in these LLM answers is that it will be cited as a source in the answer here, and then also the content of that Reddit thread will be summarized in the AI overview. So the first step to leverage Reddit for your content strategy is to actually just use SEMrush or a keyword tool to find the threads where people are talking about your brand or that might be relevant to your brand. And this is helpful because you can understand what the brand sentiment is based on what real consumers are saying and what the conversation is as it relates to your product. So if we go to SEMrush's keyword overview tool, we can just type in, so let's assume, for example, that we are Hootsuite. We can type in Hootsuite and Reddit, and it will pull up all of the keywords that are triggering Hootsuite and Reddit. So we can see all of the keywords here. And so this is broad match. We can narrow this down to just Hootsuite, Reddit. And so you can do broad match, phrase match, exact match. If we click into any of these, for example, Hootsuite, Reddit, we'll actually be able to see the pages and click out to the specific threads where people are talking about Hootsuite on Reddit. So we can see the actual pages here, or if you want to see the keywords, you can see at a high level what the keywords that are being triggered. So we're seeing these are some bottom of funnel queries here, like comparing buffer versus Hootsuite, alternatives, free alternatives to. And so we can click in on any of these, pull the content of what people are talking about, and then use that to create content that we can create on our site. Of course, another option is that you can just directly go to Google and see what people are talking about. So as an example, let's just assume that we are covering the LinkedIn element of Hootsuite. So we are on the Hootsuite marketing team and we want to create content or see what people are talking about on Reddit as it relates to LinkedIn. So we do cite Reddit. That means that we are searching only on reddit.com, and the keywords that have to be in the thread are LinkedIn and Hootsuite. So if we go here, suggestions for tools to manage CEO's account on LinkedIn. And what we want to do is we want to copy the text from this, see what insights we can draw, and then what content we can create from this. So we're going to use ChatGPT to do this. And so what we do is we just basically copy it. This is not a long thread, so it's not necessarily a great example because there's not a whole lot of content and varying insights. But we copy this, put this into ChatGPT. And so I actually already did this in the interest of time, and we'll read through the text. So you're giving the AI a role. So you are a B2B content strategist, and we're using the Reddit thread below. So we want to use that Reddit thread to identify what the pain points are or the frustrations. And this is really good. This is why Reddit is so powerful, is because it is a voice of customer. If you find the right Reddit thread or the right subreddit, it is the ideal type of way to tap into what your customers are talking about. So we want to identify what those pain points are, how we can create a blog post from it, and then from that, let's create short snippets. So the thing about LLMs is it is really focused on the specificity and relevance to answering a question. So we want to use natural language, and then we want to use something, write the content that will answer a specific query specifically. So we're going to paste in that Reddit post that we had. It doesn't matter, even it has all of this, the metadata like votes, downvotes. And then let's just see what the AI answer was. So the structured breakdown of the Reddit thread. So top 5 recurring pain points are API support, uncertainty around which tools are safe, finding a tool that combines content scheduling and engagement. Now remember, this is a really short thread, so there wasn't a whole lot to work with. So we would want to verify that this is pulling from the thread, but it is helpful that based on finding what people are talking about, we're able to deduce some other pain points, then we can identify some other elements that the customers will be talking about. So tools, metrics, and experiences mentioned. And then based on these pain points, let's actually go ahead and create a blog outline. So the blog should, let's say we are focusing on mid-funnel, so people are evaluating different options. So say Hootsuite versus Buffer versus Sprout Social. We want to start with a hook, and then a strong intro, stat-based context, and then other things that LLMs focus and prioritize are clear structures. So we want the header to really identify clearly and directly what the point of the article is. So that's the value of these headers, and then make it concise. So that's why we have here 50 to 60 words, and then FAQs. So FAQs are going to be important as well. And there's a technical element too of the FAQ schema, and we'll get into that. But here we have the blog outline, and that it is for a B2B SaaS company offering employee advocacy. So we have how to manage your CEO's LinkedIn without sharing passwords. So if we go back, we will note that this is all around suggestions for tools to manage the CEO's account on LinkedIn. This is probably the post that is providing most of the context, but the AI is valuable in that it can take just a snippet of the idea and then expand on it. So here is 5-point outline with the FAQs, and then now we can expand on this. I have here generate 5 frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions are helpful for creating content that will be cited in large language models, because the large language models are often asking questions. So it might take a question and then create subqueries based on that. That's how the AI mode in Google works, as an example. And let's just take a look at how that works here. So if I go to Google, and let's just say how to log in CEO's account on LinkedIn. If we take this and we go to AI's mode, what we'll see is that there will be multiple, so ask anything. We'll ask that how to log into CEO's account on LinkedIn, and it will think, and it will ask many different questions in different sites. And so what this is the fan out technique, where one question is actually creating many different questions, and that's why the frequently asked questions in the post is going to be important. And you can see, ironically here, this suggestions for tools to manage LinkedIn. This is the same post that we were looking for earlier. So this is exactly a circular example of how we're typing in a question, and then the Reddit thread that answers a question shows up as being a cited source here. Getting back to where we're at in our ChatGPT thread, so we have asked for 5 different frequently asked questions, and we do have the questions here with succinct, quotable answers. And now, based on the outline above, let's actually create the blog post. So section by section, let's create the blog post, and basically I'm asking it to expand on what it already created, withdrawing the insights from the Reddit post and creating the outline. Let's take that outline and let's create a blog post from it. So it is a structured outline. We have a good title, and I think that the title is good because it is instructional, where you are answering a how-to question, which does play to the large language model's needs. And then we do have different snippets here. And again, content that is structured or presented in snippets are good, as well as clear H2. So we have, why can't I reshare company posts from my CEO's LinkedIn? And then LinkedIn API limitations explained. This is really good because it's very clear in this what this section will be about. And then we're going on, this is just really elaborating on what the outline was. We have the FAQs here. And then, so now we're going to ask, based on this, what is the likelihood that this would appear in a generative search engine like Perplexity or ChatGPT? And this is a meta approach to understanding where there might be shortcomings or how we could actually improve this. And we're using a large language model to answer this. So rate on 1 to 10 for these parameters. So these are what's important for a large language model to choose a source to cite. Is it clear? Is it trustworthy? Is it well structured? And does it actually answer the question that somebody's asking? So I simply copy the post again, and then we're getting an output for overall, here's how ChatGPT evaluates this as whether it could be cited for a question or not. So in short, yes. And then we have some very specific areas or notes on what's good and what's bad in terms of the clarity, trust, and usefulness. So I really like this because you are getting basically the answers to the test. The test being, will you show up, will you pull this post if I publish it into your large language model answer, into your generative engine answer? And it might, but it gives us answers or gives us more suggestions on what we can do to increase the likelihood of being cited. So we could reframe the post as part of a broader employee advocacy guide, talk about non-executive employees and how the same tools can scale beyond the CEO. So what would you do with this? You would say, all right, now let's actually expand on this. This is an interesting segment here. How can you not just use a tool for your CEO's LinkedIn account, but somebody else? So using that and create a section for that or an FAQ for that. And really what this is it's just taking the topic and then expanding the surface area, the likelihood of creating something that will be triggered when somebody types something into a generative search engine. So let's recap what we did. So we basically looked at Reddit for content ideas. If you want to appear in these large language models, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, you need to understand what people are asking because that is what's most important and that's what will get cited in these large language models. So Reddit is an important source of tapping into your ideal customer profile or anybody's mindset, the conversation. And remember this data from SEMrush. Quora, Reddit, LinkedIn, all of these large language models are pulling in content from elsewhere. So that's why it's really important that you are pulling from these sources and then creating content around it to answer the question. So in some sense, you are curating, repurposing, and then creating the content. So we mined Reddit for the ideas. You can use a tool like SEMrush to identify, maybe based on keyword search volume or keyword difficulty, which ones make most sense to address, which Reddit threads make most sense to address. Then we're going to pull the ideas from the Reddit thread, extract the insights. What are the pain points that people are talking about in that Reddit thread? And then repurpose that into a blog post so that you can address the question specifically in a well-structured and clear answer that you put on your website. So ultimately, the goal is that you're being cited by these large language models, but kind of understanding where they're pulling the data from and then recreating it in a clear way so that you are now the cited source and the expert. So try this with a topic in your niche, and then remember that you can ask ChatGPT, what is the likelihood that you will cite this piece if asked a question along these lines? And you will get an answer from the large language model on where you can make improvements, why it would be chosen, and why it would not. If you're looking to use AI to create more content that will get cited by a large language model, check out this video right here. And then also, if you need help creating the strategy and understanding how you can increase your visibility in large language models, make sure to click the link in the description below. Happy to jump on a call and share some best practices and ideas on how you can execute this yourself. Until then, see you in the next video.